This is the Dog Savant Podcast with your host, Brett Endies.
Hello and welcome to the Dog Savant Podcast. I am Brett, I'm your host. Today we are on episode 44, I believe. This is a show about dog training, dog behavior, the life of myself, a dog trainer here in Los Angeles. And what I do, and the reason why I started this, was to share the information that I teach dog owners in the real world that has helped them for many years here as a professional. So I wanted to be able to expand, the reach of the information I give and hopefully help you, the listener who may not have good quality dog training local to you, or if you're a client of mine and need some supplementary information or to kind of hear more insight to the issues that we're working on together. That's who this show is for. I don't make money off this. As you can hear, I'm in the car. As a Los Angeles dog trainer, a Los Angeles resident, you spend a lot of time in your car in traffic, so I figured I would use the time wisely and be able to put some information out there and record myself while I'm driving. So that is why the audio quality may be questionable. If you support the show, we will continue to grow, and then hopefully we'll get better quality audio, a real studio, and all that good stuff that comes with a successful podcast. Until then, I need you guys to help me with that. Please share the show, subscribe, follow me on social media at the Dog Savant, like, review, all that good stuff. You can go on my website, dogtrainingla.com. We also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/the Dog Savant. Unfortunately, we do not have any supporters of that, so I keep trying, but oh well, I still make a living helping people in the real world, so I have time, I can do this for you guys. So, what are we going to talk about today? A lot of you realize that I do this on the fly. I kind of stream of consciousness this. Sometimes you get specific information, sometimes you get a little bit of a tangent or a rant. Today I decided we're going to talk a little bit about babying your dog. I figured I would title this podcast, Stop Babying Your Dog. Babying dogs is literally, bar none, killing them. You are not doing them a disservice to show them how much you love them or how caring you are for them. Most dog owners take care of a dog's basic needs quite well. Projecting anything extra onto them or giving them the wrong attention or misinterpreting behaviors for something other than what they are is not helping them, and is making these dogs so miserable to the point where they become major behavioral cases. They end up in shelters, put down, rehomed, and if the very best, still living in their home with their original owners, having a miserable, anxious life in their existing, because they're so disconnected from the human-dog relationship, because their owners are so caught up in their emotional misinterpretations they can't even see what's going on right under their noses. What drives me to do this episode? So I get a good amount of puppy clients, and puppy clients can be challenging, especially when they have kids and everyone wants to have a good time and they're all acting on how cute the puppy is, and they're not addressing what's really going on, because some dogs are wired in a way where they are seeing the world completely different than how their cuteness portrays itself to you as the humans. I tell a lot of people is that there's people for many thousands of years working on breeding and to create certain looks, not just for working tasks and to fit certain shapes and coat types and scent possibilities and all that, but just to make us feel good by looking at them, right? And it tricks us. That's why there's so many cartoons of dogs that can talk and animals. And look, as a hunter, this has infiltrated even the wild animal realm, where people are literally thinking that you're bear in the woods that will eat your face off in a heartbeat at a moment of perceived necessity is going to be your best friend and help you put out forest fires. That's insanity. Okay, that is delusional thinking. And what I've learned as a almost 45-year-old man is that my fellow humans by nature are very delusional creatures, and that's okay. I guess it's a coping mechanism so we can lie to ourselves and say we're not going to die and life doesn't suck when at times it can, to help us cope and get through these times mentally. But it doesn't afford us the ability to grow or help others around us if we're not seeing what's going on, to take the higher ground, to help lead or guide or parent or navigate for those who are at a time of desperation and they can't see their way out of the tunnel, right? So why do we baby our dogs? That's why. Some specifics of how this happens and how, I could just tell you from all the feedback I hear from people and how they're seeing the dogs so wrong. Yes, there is a right and wrong in the dog world. When you're seeing a dog like a little human and it's not, that is 100% bar none wrong interpretation. Sorry, it's not about perception in this case, where everyone thinks nowadays that you feel a certain way about it and that makes it valid. 110% no effing way when it comes to dogs, guys. Just not even close. Okay, so I get a case where these people walk in. When you're a dog trainer and you see what triggers these issues, it's dogs being too hypervigilant in the presence of humans, in the home environment or shared social situations during transitions or new events, right? What's transitions? When new things happen around a dog or movement is created. Some dogs get so overstimulated and so over-responsible for those transitions, they're acting out, and because there's no awareness or guidance at those times, which is the antidote to dogs having these behavioral issues, getting caught up in transitions, it's the dog has no choice but to act out. So, these people say, oh, when so-and-so comes home, the dog wants to hug her. And I'm doing air quotes here. So what do they perceive as hugging? The dog is jumping up, clinging to the leg, biting at their hand, and getting frustrated when they're moving in the house from arriving home. Does that in any way, shape, or form, even from a half-rational mindset, sound like hugging? Or does that sound like a dog who's so overwhelmed by a new transition that they have to literally control and herd the movement of humans in their environment to feel that they're getting that transition covered in a way that keeps everything safe, secure, and alive, which will just carry over to the next and the next and the next, right? So that's what happens, and we think, oh, my dog loves me. We get so narcissistic towards our dogs that we're just blind. We see the end of the forest and you just, nope, I'm lost. It's so funny to me. Because the variety of when I explain this information, even when I do this podcast or I put my videos up, I see the comments. Most of you are great and positive and you see the merit in what I'm preaching, and you're intelligent enough to hear how maybe dogs aren't perceiving it the way you do, so you can open your minds to relate to the dogs and apply the information to help them. But some of you will just be like, what is that guy talking about? He just lost me. I said in other podcasts about this, so it's not for you. I try to paint a good picture. I try to use human, kind of analogies to kind of see what we're trying to achieve in the human-dog relationship. But some people are just dim-witted. Some people are just so emotionally driven that they can't see anything. And they're so caught up in themselves and the feelings and how others perceive them. That's it. They're lost. Lifetime of this. They're not going to change. No matter what they're causing around them, doesn't matter. I've run into these people in my personal and professional lives. There's no helping them. But there are a lot of people who just want to learn. They want to do right by their dogs, and they are open-minded and non-narcissistic. Use that term a lot because that's the best way to describe it. And they get the job done, and they go through what they don't feel is fun, but they also know that it's better for their dogs. And what I call babying is taking the effort and going against your own grain to give a dog a feeling of security, structure, and leadership when they're clearly demonstrating imbalance, discontent, and anxiety. So I tell people, I don't care about your feelings about it. I don't care if you think it's mean. I don't care if you think your dog's stressed because they have to finally deal with life on life's terms. That's going to help them get on the other side of this process, happy, content, balanced, listening, and it'll probably be able to stay in your home and not end up another dog that's put to sleep for behavioral issues that are completely, it should never be the case. Or this one client says, well, I know some dogs need medication. I'm like, excuse me, not your 5-month-old, 6-month-old puppy. Okay, and that's just you copping out. And I go, I'm going to bring this back home. Every time you want to deflect and deviate from it being you as the cause of your dog's issues, I'm not going to buy that distraction. I've heard it too many times and I'm immune to it. And I also have come into too many situations, thousands, where there's been a previous trainer or the vet recommends medication. This dog is so clouded in its thinking, its neurochemistry is so fucked up, it doesn't even understand how to see life as it is. And what are you going to do? That's better? Teach a dog to fight, and then I get the argument, well, people have issues that require, yes, some of us. And dogs are not people. They don't have the life struggles and complications, and are not supposed to be taking on society's woes, so they're not a function of it, because I really doubt that people needed medication very long ago either, when life was simpler, more basic. And to be quite frank, a lot of people who live a full life, they have proper nutrition, health, full families, relationships, and they're meeting their potentials and not just being a lazy shit. I hate to be callous and non-compassionate to those who really do have biological basis to requiring medications, but I think that that's just an easy fucking lazy route too. Okay, I have Asperger's syndrome, I have heavy levels of anxiety. You can hear it come through me in all the stuff I do, but I manage it. Okay, I harness it, I deal with my own uncomfortable feelings instead of check out and just say, I'd rather just be comfortable all the time. And I'm not giving my all to my potential in my time here on earth. And I'm not going to be as aware and give myself enough to my clients and their dogs to be hypervigilant, which is where I use my anxiety as a, what do you call it? As a power, right? If you want to see it that way. So again, a lot of people will use simple quick fixes, excuses, gimmick devices, avoid the issue and just wait till the dog finally stops to give it treats. That was another thing. That's, my sisters went through training and they just said just ignore the behavior, then when it listens, give it a treat. And then what happens the next time? So your dog's barking, let's say a gardener. Yeah, okay, they react because you weren't ahead of them and they're running the show, so why not protect the house when you have extra new people over? Because this is the pattern that happens when you put a dog in a place of great hypervigilance on a daily basis. And now you're going to wait for it to calm down, and then the next day it happens again and again and again. So where are you getting resolved to this? Are you just teaching the dog to react, decompress from that reaction and overstimulation, then reward it so it just perpetuated? Or do you teach a dog better ability to not even go in that direction mentally in a place of responsibility? Trust your leadership, use commands, place training, and focus building to guide a dog through it. Make calmer sensory filtered associations so they can see what's going on without that overstimulated, think about 20 different things with an undertone of so much responsibility that they're so insecure they think they're going to die, which is all the reactions is just overwhelmed sensation to an everyday life event that they don't need to react that way to. And then you're fixing the problem, then you reward, then you add the treats when the better potential is met. And I'm telling you firsthand, I see too many dogs day after day that I've heard from too many unrelated people. Boy, I've had years of this issue and my dog is doing better right away because whatever you did is getting to the point. You got to get to the point. And it's not by threat, it's not by bribery. It's by connection, by understanding and taking time, effort, and building the right kind of relationship and being high levels of self-awareness in the presence of your dog. You need to see what's going on. Self-awareness is not an easy skill. It's hard, it takes work, it's a mental exhausted state you're in. Some people like me, I can't turn it off. Some people, at least for the sake of your dogs, or your kids, or your relationship, or the people who hire you for your services, be aware. See how you're being perceived by the other party and make the adjustments so that you can connect and communicate and not make your emotional needs priority over the balance and the greater cause of everybody's needs. Okay? I really hope that I can articulate this in a way that makes sense because some of it is abstract. I'm using terms where if I was demonstrating with a dog, it might make, oh boy, look at the dog with the owner. Now look at him with you doing your thing. And this whole sensory integration makes sense by teaching a dog to focus. And I say it over and over. What is it that you do in a simple sentence? I teach dogs to meditate. Look in to see how meditation benefits so many people in the human realm and how you can carry it over to a very simplified version for dogs, which emulates leadership, structure, calm associations, all that conditioning stuff, if you want to look at it as just based on that. And you get that potential met pretty immediately if you can tap into it using the right communication, transfer of energy, focus, the right equipment is huge, all of this, right? Sounds like I'm ranting now, I probably am. Oh, let's see, let's keep staying on track, guys. So I like using real life examples, I always say I don't want to pick on a client, even then they're wonderful, sweet people. I really like them, but they had to hear the truth. I am not there to tell them everything's going to be fine when what they're telling me is horse nonsense compared to what's really going on with their dogs, and keep approaching their dog and relating to them that way. Even if they followed all the techniques and used the training commands and collar and place training and they were still interpreting it the way I'm explaining that is off kilter, the dog would see through it. They're very sensitive. There's something they're intuitive to beyond physical demonstration of training techniques that we have to regard as much or even more so. I really hope this makes a point because this is not, it's like, well, what do I do with my dog? And I keep telling people it's the general state of affairs you're putting your dog into because of how you're gravely misinterpreting what's really going on and how you see your dog. And these interactions, I mean, something is obvious, a dog clearly controlling you and dominating you physically by humping your leg and biting on your hand, to be seen as hugging, and the dog gets aggressive then when you ask it to listen. See, this dog is also now, when the owners need something to happen, the dog's like, no way, no how. I can't handle it. You're creating frustration, dangerous situation. Going after kids when they have a resource, food, toy, an item. Not wanting to go in the crate, not liking when they don't get their way, having a bloody tantrum when the owner sometimes implements the training because it's a part-time affair. And these dogs are 24/7 sometimes until we get some order in life and relationship and the home environment. So these are all symptoms because well, what do I do with my dog? I go, you don't even worry about you keep your kids away from that dog eating right now. Well, the dog doesn't do it for me. Fine, then you do the feeding. Why is it? Because maybe my dog respects me. Okay, so let's get your dog to respect your kids. Then we will easily get to where your dog doesn't even have that agenda when they go for their food or near them, or ask them to listen or put them in the crate or respond when you have guests over, which are all symptoms of a dog that is too hypervigilant in the general state of affairs around their owners or certain owners, and then it kicks in over time when they have new things going on, more going on, or you're just out in public and they don't trust that you can navigate it for them, and now it's every dog in person for themselves, and you're doing your dog a disservice just on that level because you're limiting their social abilities, ability to be safe, and then you get dogs that get impulse control issues and freak out, and then they head out, run into traffic, and there you go. I hate giving worst case scenarios, but this is a real problem for people. And the dog world, the industry, a lot of the information, all your purely positive idiots are all promoting that this is a valid way to think about dogs. And that if you're speaking frankly like I am, you're being a dog abuser. I'm not abusing dogs. I have a very calm, consistent demeanor. There's no physical pain or striking. I don't use bonkers. I use training collars, but we're not jerking on them, cranking them. No dog has been harmed under my watch in many, many years of doing this, but they still want to fall into this place where if you're not stroking my emotions and validating my goddamn narcissism, you as the messenger are a narcissist, or an evil person, a dog abuser, whatever they want to label you. I'll give one more example. I have another client, another puppy, cute little fluffy puppies trigger something, and I'm just trying to tell her, like when I'm trying to make the dog listen and the dog's being babied all the time, it's an uphill battle, but I got to do my job, and the dog isn't listening. It's like, oh, it's okay. I'm like, well, by telling your dog it's okay for not listening, when that's sort of the issue at hand, you're validating that it's okay to not listen. Do you not understand what you're doing? You don't even realize that you're doing it every time. And lesson after lesson, I keep calling around. And then, I said, look, at what point are you going to stop projecting this energy into your dog, because it's really causing the issues again, just like I just described with this other case, or any dog or puppy that you treat in this way, especially a dog that is smart, hyper-vigilant, and very, very aware of the dynamics of your relationship and is testing to see what your role is, right? Brett, boundaries, I hear. Okay, so now we're at the point where your narcissism is so strong that someone here trying to help you based on saying the same thing to many people, and most people are great. I use these extreme examples. Most people are like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, I applied it, you're right. Let's just keep making our dog more improved, right? It's just we can just meet every week and do the work. Once in a while you get people who are emotionally resistant, and usually they can hear reason. But if not, it's like they want to blame me as the messenger or think there's something wrong with the dog. I'm like, no, you just want to confront the facts. And I'm good like that. I dig in until they have to see reality. Because our society doesn't, oh, you do you. Yeah, you're good with you until it fucks up your dog, and then I have to say something, right? And that's really what is going on. And when I push the issue, it's like boundaries, that's how you cope. I'm like, look, and I broke it down. I'm like, look, I understand how you're feeling right now, but that's all your side of it. This is not how me or your dog is seeing it. And I certainly have nothing to gain by trying to make you feel bad, but the truth making you feel bad is something you may want to examine as an issue. Now, as another note, this is one of these people who has those emotional support dogs. That is, she is a wackadoodle. Okay, this person has probably borderline personality and narcissism. I'm not judging. It is what it is. I have a cold, call it a fucking cold, because that's what it is. If I had cancer, I would want to know it, own up to it, so I could resolve the fucking problem. So if your dog has a problem where you do, you have to hear what it is. So this is a person impossible to break through to, and it makes me feel like shit, because what I'm doing to try to help her is trying to turn it around on me like I'm bad. That's what narcissists do. They gaslight. I'm immune to it because my whole personal life has been filled with fucking narcissists, and they've affected me that I become kryptonite to them because I know how they work and they can't affect me, right? So that's what happens to the narcissistic dog owner. Nonetheless, we're getting some headway, but it's challenging. It's the human end of the leash. This dog would be fine with someone who's just like, all right, I get it. My dog's cute. I love it, but time and place, and it's not happening yet until I resolve some of these relational issues. So, pardon me, I get a drink of water here. But it just is what it is. And when I speak with passion, it's not, oh, he's an angry guy. See those balanced trainers, they have No, I'm not being aggressive or angry. I'm just saying it for what it is. And I find that if the owner can do that too and address it, nobody's taking it personal. Dogs aren't getting traumatized. Everyone's afraid of traumatizing and abusing their dogs. That's why they're putting harnesses on. And that's really what's causing trauma and abuse, by putting a dog in a position where they can't handle day after day after day. It's not human anxiety. Like, I don't like the way I feel, but I can get through my days and not think my life is at stake because I feel anxious. It doesn't feel good, but it's not that. Dogs are like, if I don't stay anxious, I'm not getting my needs met. That's desperation. That's why they panic when you do start taking control with some cases, right? So I'm going to wrap it up here. I just pulled in, but I did want to talk about it. I want to maybe break this down more so it could give some insight, whether you're another trainer, you're a client struggling with this, and you've heard me kind of get on you a little bit. Please don't take it personal. This is just me trying to help, and there's only so many ways that you can be honest with a person, and something has to be direct and to the point, and dogs appreciate it. People can appreciate it too if they trust that what you're saying is not with an agenda and it's only to try to help as well. All right, so we're 20 minutes in and get some good little ones here. As a solo podcast, it's hard to keep the stream of consciousness going, but I want to get a weekly one out for you guys. So please support the show. Again, go on YouTube. I do a weekly episode. We upload it to YouTube too. So if you don't go on iTunes, you can go on YouTube. It's youtube.com/dogtrainingla. We're up to 1,000 subscribers. That's pretty cool. On the iTunes, we need momentum. Please keep rating, reviewing, and sharing. Also, follow me on @TheDogSavant. I post a lot of information, and you can follow my life and information on my classes and all that. And of course, if you're in the Los Angeles, San Fernando Valley area and you need training help, please contact me. Again, my website is dogtrainingla.com. Thanks so much for listening. If you have a new puppy, really do the work now. It's going to pay off 15 years of dividends. I promise you it's worth the effort in going against the grain. Your dog will still be cute to you even when it gets a little older, but right now you might not be able to indulge as much as you like. I promise everybody wins, and your dog is going to benefit most of all by being this way and more strict and structured if you have a dog or puppy that requires it. Thanks again, guys. Get out there with your dog, lead your dog. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.